Notebook Nuggets, episode 5. Let's get started. So, how to win friends and influence people. So I'm planning and making an entire video on this. I love everything in it around letting other people think they came up with the idea, praising people for the slightest improvements, not being a dick just to prove you're right, and how pointless arguments are. I feel like in most cases proving someone wrong doesn't feel good in both directions. Right, they feel shit because they've just had one of their beliefs crushed, and you feel shit because you've made them feel shit. And I just feel like unless their belief is like super negative, it's just not worth proving someone wrong. One of my favourite quotes from the entire book is just a nice little rhyme, and it's a nice thing to keep in mind anytime you sense an argument coming or you have the opportunity to prove someone wrong. And it goes like this. Here lies the body of William J, who died defending his right of way. He was right, dead right, as he sped along, but he's just as dead as if he were wrong. All the notes this week are pretty connected. So the second one is the secret behind Ed Sheeran's success. So I recently listened to the Theo Von podcast with Ed Sheeran, and he said this at one point. I went up to Sheffield to do a couple of school course visits, and they were all amazing, like way better than I was at 14. And I feel like all it takes is for someone to be like, you're really, really good at this. And then he goes on to say a few more things. He mentioned that some people used to give him encouragements about his performance, and then when he went back and reviewed those performances, they were kind of bad. So even though those people were kind of lying to him, that praise led to increased self-confidence, and that self-confidence probably played a huge part in his success. Alright, the next note is a little bit of a critique on how to win friends and influence people. So one of the main quotes from this book is, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming genuinely interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. And he does get into the importance of asking people questions and how to show an interest in people, but it doesn't really mention the importance of the follow-up question. Because sure, asking someone a question is great, but if you're just asking someone a question and it's a one and done and you just move on to a new question, it can feel a bit formulaic and fake. So instead of just asking a single question and then moving on to a new question, try to drill down on their answer. You know, asking someone like what they meant by that, or you know, why that's important to them. Those are the types of questions that will make you seem more interested. Essentially, tell me more. Like rephrase, tell me more, and that will make you seem genuinely interested in someone. There's even been studies done on speed dating where the amount of follow-up questions someone asked basically doubled their chances of getting a second date. So yes, ask questions, but make sure to ask the follow-up questions. And finally, adults don't exist. So this is something I came across from a guy called George Mack. Basically, a lot of people are waiting to become an adult, when in reality that time might never come. I think everyone thinks to themselves, when I get to X age, I'll have everything figured out. Then you get to that age and you kind of feel the same. You've definitely grown and figured more stuff out, but you don't feel like that adult you envisioned. George Mack mentions that there's a couple of things that make you realise that adults aren't really a thing. The first is when a friend who is kind of all over the place, doesn't really have their shit together, says, I'm thinking about becoming a teacher. Then you realise that a significant amount of your teachers were probably like that person at some point. The second thing is when you're 15 and you meet a 25-year-old, you think, like, whoa, they're grown up. Then you reach 25 and you say to yourself, when am I going to become an adult? When we're kids, teachers, parents, we sort of put them on a pedestal, and I think as kids that is completely normal, that's natural. It's when you continue doing that into your older age that it can become a problem. And so maybe the key to feeling more like an adult lies in embracing the perspective that everyone is just grown-up kids figuring stuff out. So yeah, there are no adults, and everyone is just figuring it out as they go along.